Hector Sousa was returning from a tourist trip to San Diego, California, on a ferry when he realized his wallet was no longer in his pants pocket. The man was a millionaire who had been previously interviewed by Forbes. Sousa was a philanthropist in addition to being a member of Mexico's super-rich elite. Since the 1990s, he has invested in large retail chains while raising large sums of money to provide food, clothing, and medical care to people in his country and throughout Latin America who are in need. One day, the millionaire was visiting a tourist attraction on America's West Coast with his daughter, Margarita Sousa, who had just turned 18. The girl had been to that country a few times with her father, but she had never spent enough time there to learn everything she desired. She requested a celebration in the United States when she reached adulthood. Her father took a week off from work to accompany her. The philanthropist called a friend who worked for a luxury hotel chain in California and explained the situation. The man planned the entire trip for Hector and his daughter, Margarita. The father and daughter had been in America for 3 days. They'd seen Disney, driven through Los Angeles, and were now in San Diego, where they'd just returned from Coronado Island and planned to visit the zoo or water park the next day. Despite being a popular tourist destination in the area, Coronado had a poor neighborhood with a large Mexican population, and Hector wanted to get to know its streets and people. Margarita was upset that her father had planned a visit to this place for her birthday. After all, she had no interest in poor neighborhoods in the United States, but the young lady put up with it to avoid any issues. It was summer and the boat was packed with tourists. Father and daughter had already returned to the city via one of the routes. When the boat was approaching the port, Hector looked in his pocket for his wallet, but couldn't find it. He searched other pockets, inquired if his daughter had seen it, and looked around. Margarita asked if it had been a while since he had used the wallet, and Hector replied that he had only used his money to purchase a souvenir while visiting the poor neighborhood on the island. "I told you not to go there, father. You are obviously robbed," Margarita retorted. Hector corrected his daughter because he didn't know if it had been stolen. He stated he may have misplaced his wallet somewhere, possibly on the boat packed with tourists from all over the world. "Look at the people around us," Margarita responded. "Don't you think they would have returned it by now if they had found it?" Hector only expressed his hope for whoever had found his wallet would contact him and return it. Margarita had no idea, but it would soon have a significant impact on her life. Hector Sousa had been back at the hotel for over 2 hours and had not received a call from anyone who has found his wallet. The tour boat staff also searched everywhere but found nothing. They were concerned because the millionaire could sue the transportation company, but no one was more concerned than Margarita Sousa, the powerful man's daughter. She knew that in addition to cash, several credit cards in her father's wallet were required for her long-awaited birthday celebration. Margarita, concerned, stated that her father had most certainly been robbed while they were on the island. "Don't you realize, Dad, that these people took advantage of you? You went to that poor neighborhood with such good intentions, and they ended up making a fool of you," she grumbled. "You took me to a poor neighborhood for my birthday. Look what we got out of it." Hector took a deep breath and told Margarita that he loved her and that she needed to learn a lot more about life. She was becoming a grown woman, but she still had a lot of life ahead of her. "Do you believe my life has always been good and easy for me? I've been to the other side, girl," he said. Hector reminded her that he was born in a poor neighborhood of Mexico City. His phone rang. It was a number he didn't recognize when he answered. The person on the other end said he had his wallet and gave him an address that was a little outside of the tourist area. Margarita objected when she saw her father get up with a smile on his face. "Think about it, Dad. There may be a ruse or a trap. Can we truly guarantee that they've found your wallet?" Hector replied that it would be no problem. The caller had a child's voice and sounded trustworthy. Margarita then summoned the security guard who escorted them whenever necessary and explained what was going on. The security guard appeared in Margarita's room and tried to persuade Hector not to go to that address. Still, Hector simply replied that he would trust his intuition and look for his wallet to continue the celebrations promised by the trip. So the three left the luxury hotel and proceeded to the nearby avenue. Finally, they arrived at the specified location in a neighborhood full of very simple houses. The bodyguard refused to let Hector out of the car. When he clapped his hands, a child appeared. He was clutching the man's wallet in his small hands. He stood at the gate as the bodyguard delivered the item to the philanthropist. Hector quickly realized that it was his wallet, and when he opened it, he observed that all of his documents, cards, and money were still inside. Nothing was missing. The boy was probably about 13 years old. He was skinny with bright eyes and worn-out clothes. His situation wasn't much better than Hector's when he was at his age. The millionaire had gone out of the car with his daughter and thanked the boy for returning his wallet. "You saved me a lot of headaches. Thank you," he spoke. The boy took advantage of that. Well, just man's friendliness and asked for $2. Margarita started laughing nervously when she heard this. "See, what did I say? Good thing we brought the bodyguards," she said. "What's the matter, daughter?" asked Hector. "Dad, give him all the money right away before his cronies show up, and let's get out of here." Margarita's reaction embarrassed the boy, so he explained. "It's not like that, ma'am. I just don't have a phone. So I had to use the only money I had to call you from a public phone. I spent the night begging on the street but received nothing, so I used my savings to buy my sister a cupcake. Tomorrow is her birthday." Hector became intrigued by the boy's story and asked him to continue telling it in order to heighten Margarita's horror. The boy then said his name was Paul and that he doesn't remember much about his childhood. He hadn't known his father and had been living on the streets with his mother and sister for over a year. A few blocks away, where the rest of his family was, there was a space where several homeless people gathered to spend the night. Paul recalled having a birthday and the cake his mother begged to celebrate when they were still living in a small apartment. It was the boy's first and only party. The cake was small, and the only people he had to sing happy birthday to him was his mother and little sister. But it was still the happiest memory of his life. Even though they'd been evicted, he wanted to ensure his sister felt the same way. As a result, Paul begged for money on the street to buy his sister a cake. Margarita couldn't stop crying as she put her hands to her chest. The girl who had previously been afraid of that place and suspicious of the boy's intentions now felt ashamed for making such hasty judgments. To top it off, Paul's sister shared her birthday. Margarita surprised everyone by handing Paul a card from the luxury hotel she was staying in, instructing him, his mother, and sister to visit the next day. She asked her father for permission before opening his wallet and handing the boy $300 in bills. "Paul, please use this money to buy clothes for yourself and your family. If not, you may not even be able to get to the hotel reception," she explained. Then everyone said their goodbyes. On the way back, Hector Sousa directed the bodyguard to the restaurant he had reserved for Margarita's birthday celebration, but she stops him and asks them to return to the hotel. "What's the matter, daughter?" the millionaire inquired. "What we'd spend one night here would feed Paul's family for a month. Let's just go back to the hotel and order a pizza while we figure out what we're going to do tomorrow." "Okay," Hector agreed. He turned and looked proudly at his daughter. His years as a philanthropist seemed to have finally positively influenced his daughter. Paul, his sister Cindy, and his mother Elizabeth made it to the clothing store early the next morning. They left the place with brand new clothes and a good feeling. The millionaire expressed his surprise that her son had returned a wallet in the same condition in which it was found, despite the hardships he and his family faced. And if the son had such a disposition, it could only be the result of a good upbringing. "I congratulate you on your integrity," he said, and Elizabeth thanked him. In the end, Hector and Margarita, on the other hand, continued to plan their trip, but nothing provided the same happiness that Margarita felt during the party in the hotel's garden. When she looked at her father, she realized why he was never satisfied with simply being a millionaire. Doing good for others was what made him happy, and she understood it now. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, Crown Luxury, and we'll see you in the next video.